you know what I've noticed when I interact with the youth or try to minister to them, they have a lot of difficult, deep questions. They're deep thinkers, and they have a different way of communicating. They have a different way of relating to others. So, what would be your advice, or what have been the best practices that you guys have been doing to really connect and build relationships with our young people?
Yeah. Agree with that. I just came from a camp and I was expecting questions to be shallow or just a few. But then the list of questions kept on coming, over an hour of answering questions and difficult questions from them. But in terms of building relationships, I think it's going outside the normal form that, oh, go to church and then we'll spend time Bible studies and doing activities, youth worship, but rather going outside of it and actually doing life activities with them, enjoying meals together, going on trips together. And I think because they're so focused on their phones, and if you invite them to actual activities, maybe go bowling together or even watch a movie and then have a meal together, they're open to those. So it's really building relationships with them and providing them opportunities to say, they're looking for somebody that is older to guide them because that's something that may be lacking for them and their families as well. So having that kuya or ate figure is something that is very valuable for the young people today.
Yeah, I agree with that, KJC. Also important yung availability and consistency natin with them. Alongside consistency is patience. Because we're from different generation. When I entered pastoral ministry, I thought ang lapit ko lang sa mga kabataan kasi bata pa ako.
Mukha ka mas bata pa sa akin eh.
Yeah. You're the youngest among
Yeah.
us.
But mali pala ako. Ang layo rin pala because I cannot say na ito kami, ito yung gusto namin. Kasi ibang generation na talaga sila. And so, importante yung availability because there are times that you'll feel na hindi ata ako kailangan to because that person's always on his phone. But actually, kailangan ka niya to yung consistent na presence mo sa kanya, yung intentionality mo, and yung pag-reach out mo kahit sa social media sa kanya. No? And also important yung patience because again, iba yung likes nila, iba yung definition nila of friendship, iba yung definition nila when it comes to spiritual maturity. But you have to lovingly teach them and bring them to the Lord talaga. So that's for me.
And I think that's the most, I guess, beautiful thing that we can do. It's really that modeling of relationship, right? Like parang yung, well, discipleship naman talaga yung tawag natin dyan, but it's really more of caring deeply for this young person and understanding that the position that they are currently in is also quite challenging. Like imagine growing up in a world where everyone is just like dati pag nagkamali ka, if you have a failure, whatever, like a few people know about it, you know. My embarrassing moments are not plastered all over social media. But now for the young generation, parang lagi tuloy silang takot to do something or, you know, connect with someone kasi they feel as if there's always other people watching their moves and they can't make a mistake, right? So that kind of consistent, compassionate companionship, wow, CCC, consistent, compassionate companionship gives them a lot of confidence that I can trust this person. This person doesn't just want to convert me or to make me different or to make me like them. It's really because they care for me. And I think a lot of people really need that, especially ngayon na makikita natin ang dami talagang mga difficulty that the young people are dealing with, right? But I want to ask about authenticity. What role does authenticity play in sharing your faith with young people now? Do they want things to be a bit more sugar coated? Gusto ba nila straightforward? Paano ba tayo maging authentic in our faith and in our intention in building relationship with them, while at the same time, you know, having these kind of careful and respectful conversations with them?
I think it's the Barna who says na this generation is attracted when people evangelize through their works, not just by their words. Authenticity, kasi nakikita rin to sa actions natin. So I think very important or crucial yung actions natin, yung how we live our life and how we live before the Lord because that will also affect our the gospel that we share to them. So authenticity is crucial. I really believe that. Yes.
Agree completely. Actually, this generation are super great at reading people. They know when you're fake, whether it's through a screen or through face to face. They know it. So the students, the young people, they don't expect you to be perfect, but they expect you to be real and vulnerable. Share your mistakes with them. They don't expect you to be the role model that will epitomize everything, like a perfect kuya, a perfect ate, the ideal father or mother that I've been longing for. They just want you to be real, and they just want you to be a person that they can say, he makes mistakes, but he's still able to live with it. He's not gonna be defensive about what he does. He's not gonna try to hide it, but he's just gonna be able to show me that, hey, living this life, even following Jesus, it's not all flowers and rainbows. It's gonna be something challenging, and every now and then you will make a mistake, and it's okay as long as you get back up, and then you live your life for Him. So yeah, they know if you're faking it,
They can
or if you're
smell
making.
it.
They can smell it. They know it.
Yeah. I think lahat naman tayo merong sincerity alarms, right? Like we all know when somebody's just trying to tell us something or do something to manipulate us to do something that they want. But I think especially with this generation, because nga they interact with all sorts of people and all sorts of material online, parang mas magaling nga sila to detect that kind of thing. I think it's also so important to kind of be compassionate with when they share their authentic self as well. Kasi minsan parang feeling ko magfi-filter ka agad sila eh. If they know that you're judging them or you're not really there to build a relationship with them, nahihirapan sila to do that. So that kind of compassion when they're being their authentic self also and they're showing you their real self is so important as well. But I want to ask you, because you do meet a lot of young people and you minister to a lot of the youth today, what is the role of, I guess, testimony sharing when it comes to gospel sharing, or yung stories natin, yung personal stories natin, how does that apply when we're sharing the gospel to young people?
Very, very important siya in a way that testimony helps people see that the gospel is real. I think it's Tim Keller who said that the goal is not to make the truth clear, the goal is to make it real. And stories and testimonies are very helpful because nakikita ng mga kabataan na, nangyayari pala kay kuya or kay ate, yung sinasabi niya at na-transform siya ng gospel na to. So, sa ngayon, for example, ako, I'm discipling these young men. And these young men are, hindi sila ganun makapag-express ng mga mistakes nila or because may ganun parang tingin nila na baka i-judge ako kasi pastor tong kausap ko. So what I do, I share my mistakes. I share my past, my life when I was younger. And I say that dito yung mga nangyari sa buhay ko. And through that, they say, baka ito talaga yung nangyari pala sa heart ko ngayon. So they're able now to be honest with themselves, to reflect and say, ito yung mga pagkakamali ko and baka blinded pala talaga ako by the, yeah. So,
Yeah, definitely. Sharing your own story to the young people gives them safer space that they can share theirs. So saying, he shared not only about his week, but even his struggles, whether he's having difficulty with his own parents, and the challenges that he's facing, and then how you're dealing with that. It might be saying, I'm still struggling with this, and I'm still having difficulty managing my time. I'm having a difficulty with my relationship with my parents, and they use it as okay, then I can be open. Then I can be able to share that. And at the same time, they say, it's actually possible to be able to overcome those because Kuya has done it or his friend has done it. You don't only share your own personal stories, but you can even share stories of your friends, of people that you've read in the book, so that it can be able to be real to them. That Christianity is not just another program that they're going to be doing, but it's actually changing lives and that their own personal lives can also be transformed.
Yeah. And I think it's also beautiful that they get to see that walang ending yung growth mo as a Christian when you're older. Like, it fascinates me when I have women in my life who are my mentors and my disciplers who are in their 60s and 70s. So sasabihan nila ako na, grabe, the Lord has been teaching me this. The Lord has been disciplining me in this area. And I'm like, hanggang ngayon? Ganon. Na meron parang grabe, imagine mo, it never ends. That walk with the Lord and that grace that we need for a day-to-day, moment-to-moment walking with Him never ends at on this side of glory. Like, even when you're in your 60s or 70s, or to young people, even when you're in your 30s or 40s, alam nila na hindi matatapos yung struggles. But the good thing is you will always have people to journey with. And one of the beautiful things my husband shared to me was, sila daw ng mga men, meron silang mga accountability groups on Viber. If they struggle with alcoholism, with pornography, whatever it is, may accountability group sila. Tapos they message in that group kag nagkakaroon sila ng desire or parang nagkakaroon sila ng inclination to do something that they know will not be pleasing to the Lord. And somebody from that group, from that trusted group, will call them and will minister to them. And I think that's just the power of personal testimony, of vulnerability, and of opening yourself up and showing people and showing young people, especially, na hey, I still struggle. God is still sanctifying me. God is still working in my life. Therefore, you can also do this. 'Di ba? Hindi siya parang end goal na I'll be a perfect Christian when I'm 35 and I won't struggle anymore with this sin. It's 20, 30, 50 years of going back to the same sin that God is addressing in your life compassionately, na nagiging better and better every single year, right?